perhaps it missed the building directly. We don't know if that's the case, but the initial report now is it crashed.
Nine, 10, 11, 12.
Mike and Andrea, can you hear me?
Okay.
Mike and Andrea, do you hear me? Mike and Andrea. Mike and Andrea. Mike and Andrea. Give me a... do we have audio up? Anybody, please? Mike and Andrea?
Yeah.
Mike and Andrea? First of all, let me just first describe the scene. This is the west side of the Pentagon, the heliport side off of Washington Boulevard. Were you driving or what?
Yes, I was in the traffic on the 14th Street Bridge, right at the Pentagon, tied up going into town, and I heard this plane come over my head. It was really low.
What size plane?
It sounded like a small plane, but it was very, very low. And the next thing I know, there was this tremendous explosion as it hit the Pentagon. I looked over, and the smoke started coming up. Pieces of the plane and pieces of the Pentagon were falling onto the 14th Street.
We're going live. I'm ready to go live. Tell them to come to me. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Backing off the audio. 1 2 1 2. How about now? How about now? The firefighting efforts. We had a couple people who were in the Pentagon at the time. Tell me what happened.
We were sitting at our desks having a meeting, and there was a large shutter, or there was a shutter of the building, and the sound of a large thud.
Right, you could hear the impact, and there was a large concussion, like an explosion would do. The air would be a concussion.
But we didn't know there was an explosion. It was clear. We looked at each other and knew that something catastrophic had happened, but we had no idea what it was. People began evacuating immediately and went outside, and it wasn't until we were outside we realized what had happened. There are pieces of aircraft spread all the way up the road, at least a third of a mile from the impact site.
What goes on? Can you tell us what would be in those offices, generally speaking? I know you can't go into great detail.
Well, we're looking at the E-ring of the Pentagon, and that's where the more senior officials are. That area, I believe, is where the Army Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations and the Army Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel's offices are.
We're looking here also, I believe, I don't have a monitor, but I believe you're looking at one of the injured being taken away by Arlington Fire and Rescue. They've been on the scene since a few minutes after this happened. This is a second person we have confirmed has what appears to be very serious burns.
Oh, hi.
Can you take it back for a second? We need to coordinate something here. I'll be right back with you.
I gotta move.
Okay, we have to move, folks. We have to move. Statter to control room. Please talk to me and come to me. Yeah, tell them to come to me as soon as you can, because we may have to move. Oh, it collapsed right now. As you can see, I assume you're taking our picture. I do not have a monitor, but right now we just had a middle section here of the E-ring of the Pentagon collapse from the amount of fire and destruction from this. So obviously there was a great deal of damage here. It just collapsed. We don't know who is inside or how many people are inside. You heard somebody, one of the people who was inside the building, talk to us a short time ago and said this E-ring of the Pentagon has a great many senior officials. So if somebody was planning something, this might have been the place if they wanted to get senior officials.